Who's in charge here?
You.
Who's second in charge? Chico?
Dawkins says the violence is instead caused by a lack of organization and by close affiliations with Los Angeles neighborhoods. So you guys are Bloods?
Yeah, Crenshaw Market. Inglewood Watts, Crenshaw Market, Gangsters Living, 104th Street.
Such affiliations carry with them decades-old hostilities between those Los Angeles neighborhoods true to the Crips and those loyal to the Bloods.
They've been trying to kick up dust. They've been trying to kick up dust, but little do they know, it's about to be on. That's real.
Giving the wrong hand sign
Crip killer for life.
or wearing the wrong color can mean death. The Bloods claim the color red, the Crips blue, and anyone wearing a rival color is fair game.
YouTube, what's up with it? We back around for another round. It's your favorite Denver historian, Views of a Go-Getter, right? That's the name of the channel. If y'all ain't subbed up, that's your time to go ahead, hit that button down there somewhere, right? Hit that button, sub up, make sure you tuned in. You know, I usually be doing reaction videos to shit that's worldwide, that the internet talking about, but today, we gonna keep it flowing into the Denver shit. And this time around, you know, I'm gonna fill in some blanks about the group called Gloc-9. Now, a lot of people don't ever know even Gloc-9 even existed. If you're younger, if you probably was born in the 2000s, probably never heard of this group, right? You probably never heard of Gloc-9. That's why I'm here to fill in these blanks for you. But for my real Denver natives in the cast that's 30 plus, y'all gonna remember Gloc-9. Gloc-9 probably is one of the hardest groups to really come out the west side of Denver. And Gloc-9 actually has one of the hardest songs to ever drop out of the Mile High City, in my opinion. And the song is called No Shame, and it was produced by DJ Fame. It was originally on the first Concrete Poetry album. There's only one Concrete, but it was volume 1. I guess it was supposed to be volume 2, volume 3. But DJ Fame, who I did a video on, y'all can go check that video out right here. It's in the Denver related section on my page right here. But DJ Fame, he put out the Concrete Poetry compilation. No Shame was on there, and he ultimately produced their entire album, Glicks, which we'll cover here in a minute. But the song No Shame is probably one of the hardest songs out of the Mile High City to me. And when it came out, and even to this day when I hear it, it's like undeniably, like you have to, like it's just so hard. When I hear it, it just comes on. You can't help but turn your ear to it. You know, it's got that ain't no shame. It's all up how that shit go up. Pulling up in that low, finna let you know, bro. It's all about that city of Sac in Denver, Colorado, where we be a mile higher, twist on Dayton wires. Now, I ain't gonna fuck up the song by rapping it myself, but let's go ahead and take a listen to that one real quick.
Yeah, one more time up in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Got my homeboy Vino up in this motherfucker. Lil Joker, Big Love in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can't see the Gloc-9. Check this shit out. Ain't no shame, you already know my fucking name. It's the dope, bitch, and ain't a damn thing changed. I'm still the same, laying the cut, peeping gang. On all you busters, bootsy ass fucking lames. You talking to this hoe that's talking to that nigga dumb. And she's letting me know you got a gang of kilos. And I'm at your door with the fucking fofo. If you don't wanna die, get your bitch ass on the floor. And don't say shit, you'll get lit. Cause I'm quick to let the fofo spit. Now tell me where the chickens, nigga. With the fofo to his head. He said in the kitchen, nigga. Grab the dough and hella motherfucking fatty. We finna ball. Are y'all motherfuckers ready to get paid like the good fellas? Niggas sweat us for the simple fact they ass jealous. But it ain't no shame in that Sacramento money making. And it ain't no shame in that D-Town gangbang.
And it ain't no shame in that Sacramento money making. And it ain't no shame in that D-Town.
So if you like that song right there, if you felt that shit right there, y'all can hear the full song. It can be found on YouTube. All y'all gotta search is Gloc-9, No Shame. They got a remix to that shit right there. I don't think the remix is hard as the original. The original will never be beat to me, but that's because, you know, I come from that era. I remember when that shit first came out. I remember first hearing it. I remember, you know, but, you know, Gloc-9, Salvino, who's one of the main members of Gloc-9, and Westside Bloods, CMG Bloods, they got a crazy, crazy story. You know, ultimately, the Deuce 7 Bloods, Crenshaw Mafia Bloods, the Deuce 7 Crenshaw Mafia Gangster Bloods hail from the west side of Denver, and they're a Latino, Hispanic version of what everybody knows as the Crenshaw Mafia Gangster Bloods. And if you're from Denver, you know the Crenshaw Mafia Gangster Bloods, right? They from LA, but you know, Denver, Park Hill has a huge, predominantly set of Crenshaw Mafia Gangster Bloods. I mean, like everybody, it used to be Park Hill boys, you know, the whole nine. I ain't gonna get into all the specifics of the politics or none of that shit on this video. I'll leave that to all the real gang members. Since I'm not no gang member, you know what I mean? I'm gonna leave that to the real gang members, the politic on. Y'all do that in the comments or wherever the fuck y'all wanna do it at. But Denver, we got a huge population of Hispanic Bloods. And at one point in time, you know what I mean? The Deuce 7 Bloods were put together by some Hispanic cats from the east side called Boom and Bang. Now I've done a 3-part video on Boom and Bang. As y'all can see right here, I did a 3-part video. Y'all can go check that out. Very lengthy, goes into detail. If y'all want to know more about that, peep them videos out, Denver related section in my YouTube, right? But ultimately, you know, a lot of cats probably be like, how the fuck is there a Deuce 7 Denver Crenshaw Mafia Gangster Bloods, right? How does that work? How does that work? Well, that's how it is in Denver. Shit sport is factual. Nobody can debate me about the shit. The shit is what it is. I've been in the pen with them. The SA Bloods, the Black Bloods, they function together. You know, they may not always ride together for all the drama that goes on, but best believe if there's really some shit going on, the SA Bloods and the Black Bloods, they gonna come together like glue, you feel me? But the Deuce 7 Bloods tarnished their name. The hood, the whole hood got tarnished after Boom and Bang and the whole rape of a 14-year-old girl. And that's in the videos that I showed y'all, the Boom and Bang videos that was just on the screen. They tarnished their whole hood. The whole hood went out terrible after the weird, terrible shit they did. And ultimately, Gloc-9 was formed by Salvino Martinez, who used to be part of the Deuce 7 Crenshaw Mafia Gangster Bloods. And he went later on to form Gloc-9. And one of the killings that Boom and Bang and a few other gang members had got arrested for was a killing of Venus Montoya. Now, Venus Montoya got killed being at the wrong place in the wrong time because Salvino of Gloc-9 actually had a hit out on him by Bang and some other members of the Bloods, because they said he was telling the police and had snitched and did some other shit like that. So motherfuckers had showed up to try to off Salvino, and he had just left. And when he left, they ended up shooting a girl that was young, you know, young mother, shot her, killed her with a 7.62 high caliber rifle. And the story we're gonna cover today is about that murder right there and why they thought he was snitching and all that. That's what we're gonna cover in this video. But a quick breakdown for Gloc-9 though. Gloc-9, other than being on Concrete Poetry, right? They had an EP that was about 8 songs deep, and it was all produced by DJ Fame. Very rare album to find, you know. It was hard for me to find any pictures or anything like that of them, because there's no pictures of any of the members of Gloc-9 that I could find. Now, Gloc-9 went to put out another album after this one, which is even harder to find than their original. You can probably find the original, but their second album is super, super hard to find. It's a hard album though too. It's very hard. I fuck with it. There's some songs I heard on YouTube and shit like that. You know, I mean, shit for Denver shit, I fuck with it. But there was another Gloc-9 that came out after both of those albums. That's only 2 members. Now, I don't know who those 2 members are. They both Bloods too. They some SA Bloods. And I thought they album was trash as fuck, but I don't know who that group consists of. That album I never fuck with, never heard of them. Maybe y'all can school me in the comments. You know, I don't know who that Gloc-9 is. They shit can be found on YouTube as well. But ultimately, the first Gloc-9 album is called Gix, G-I-X. And Gloc-9 consists of 5 people. That's Salvino, Who is it? Doe. Doe still be rapping. Y'all can check out Doe shit. He on Upset Records. He got a gang of shit out. Find him on YouTube. You got Kool-Aid. You got Joker, and then I think you got Bam on there. That's 5 people. 5 people from Gloc-9. So you can think of what the Gloc-9 album sounds like, right? It sounds like motherfuckers, you know, back to back to back. They all had hard ass voices to me. The beats was hard, you know, DJ Fame Productions, and you know, the album was hard. So I encourage y'all, if y'all ain't never heard of Gloc-9 and you want to get yourself familiar with some original Denver gangster rap, peep out that Gloc-9. But for now, we're gonna cover these stories about how the killing of Venus Montoya was never supposed to happen. It was supposed to be Salvino Martinez of Gloc-9 that was supposed to get killed that night, but he had just left. So let's go ahead and get into that real quick. The video you're about to see is a compilation from an interview that Salvino Martinez of Gloc-9 did with Westword back in 1997. Now, they call this interview snitching to a degree because he broke down all the specifics to a degree, but I'll let y'all be the judge if he was really snitching in the interview or not. But I don't know whatever happened to Salvino Martinez. Y'all let me know. I heard some shit about him up in Lookout Mountain, but let me know in them comments.
Hey, Famous, what's up, homie? This is Lena from GIX. I was wondering if you did that remix today, you know what I'm saying? Because there's some busters going around said they laid the tracks and that they even did the chorus. They know who they is, we know who they is, but fuck them, I'll hit you up, alright? So.
Salvino Martinez wants the homeboys to know that he's not talking to the 5-0. Never has and never will. His talking to 5-0, a gang slang reference to the television police drama Hawaii 5-0, was just a vicious rumor put on the streets by his enemies. The same enemies who tried to silence him in 1997 in July, but instead they shot and killed Venus Montoya, the 19-year-old mother of a 4-year-old boy. Spreading the rumors, Salvino Martinez adds, are the cops, the ones that don't mind sowing a little bit of animosity amongst gang members. Like Venus Montoya, Salvino Martinez was raised by his grandmother. Born in February of 1975, he was handed over to the old woman when he was just 4 by a mother he could not get along with. His father was in prison. For what? He says, so much shit, I don't even remember what for. A beefy 6-footer with dark tattoos stands Salvino Martinez with a brown skin and his arms and his neck very bold. His black hair is shaved close to his round head and a heavy gold chain circles his thick neck. Salvino was his grandmother's favorite. She tried her hardest to keep him on the right track, always wanting to know where he was going, what he was doing, and who he would be with. He grew up in a number of Westside projects, playing with friends like Smug and Baby G. Everyone was poor. Everyone dreamed of getting ahead, and only few knew how to go about it. In those days, the gangs weren't so prevalent. Salvino would hear about them, but they didn't control the streets like they do nowadays. If there was a single person Salvino looked up to besides his grandmother, it was his brother, Davey Angelo Martinez, who was 3 years older. Davey was everything to Salvino. Salvino thought he was the coolest ever, but when Salvino was 13, his brother was killed. He says, quote, by this so-called best friend, Salvino recalls. His friend thought he was seeing his lady, so he stabbed him in the heart. 3 months later, his grandmother died. Salvino had moved back in with his mother, who lived in Lakewood. Away from the hood, Salvino became a loner, and for reasons he says he can't explain, the police picked on him. I'd be walking down the block and they'd call the dogs out on me, he says, or I'd be at the school standing around by myself. There'd be 10 kids fucking around over there, but the cops would pull me over. Around the neighborhood, he began to notice that the homeboys were, quote, flamed up, wearing bright red, the color of the Bloods, a gang that started in the black neighborhoods of Los Angeles. Salvino says he didn't feel pressure from the gang members because he wasn't afraid to stand up to them. At a party, if gang members showed up and demanded money, he'd tell them where to go. He'd tell them to get off and what the fuck, says Salvino, recalling his response to the strong arm tactics. Quote, you can't come here and punk me. I wouldn't put up with it, but some of them did. Still, Salvino hung out at the park with the Westside CMG Bloods, quote, drinking and smoking grass. He had dropped out of school. There was nothing there that interested him, he said. One day when he was 17, the Bloods said, "Hey homie, you've been hanging out with us. It's time we put you on." Salvino describes his decision to join the gang as something that, quote, just happened. I knew it would mean trouble down the line, but it was good to have a set to be with, somebody who would back you up. Those first years, Salvino was a regular gangbanger. Sometimes that just meant chilling with the homies, drinking, smoking, and sometimes it meant cruising, looking for rival gang members to shoot. As a Blood, he was indoctrinated into the ways of a gang. Surrounded by the rival Crips, he was to go out like a soldier, claiming his loyalty to the Bloods. But the number one rule was to never talk to the police, even about the rivals. Salvino's adult arrest record began in 1994 with a charge of misdemeanor assault. Some other members of the gang had nearly pistol whipped a 15-year-old boy to death, he says, but, quote, I took the rap for that, he says. Salvino's arrest record continued through 1994 and 1995 with a series of minor violations, public urination, vandalism, curfew violations, and traffic offenses. The most serious came in February of 1995 when he was arrested for distributing marijuana. He served 6 months in jail for that. After that, there would be no more arrests for 2 years. Salvino found himself, quote, floating away from the gangbanging life. He wanted things, and the banging lifestyle did not lend itself to upward mobility. Whatever money was made through robbery, theft, drug dealing, or extortion would be pissed away on booze, drugs, and bitches. Salvino, who had fathered 2 children, wanted more from life. Quote, I had no car, no money, he recalls. Sure, there were bitches drinking and banging, but that don't put a roof over your head or feed your children or get you wheels. It wasn't that Salvino walked the straight and narrow. He ran his own illicit enterprise and put his money away. He used some of the money to purchase a Lincoln Town car, which he turned into a beautifully detailed lowrider, one of which won first prize in 1997 at the Cinco Mile festivities in Denver. It was the jealousy and envy of other gang members that got him into trouble, Salvino says. In particular, the money in the cars drew the attention of Daniel Bang Martinez, Alejandro Speed Ornelas, and his brother Gerald G-Loc Ornelas, Samuel, quote, Zigzag Quintana, and even Salvino's childhood friend David Baby G Warren. This clique within the Westside CMG Bloods considered themselves to be the hardcore members, Salvino says. They'd show up at a party and demand jewelry and money from those in attendance, but that wasn't the worst of it. Quote, they'd put a gun to a girl's head and say, you're gonna fuck me and all my homeboys. They couldn't get away with such tactics with older Bloods or people who stood up to them. Quote, they would have never done that to the Black Bloods. The Black Bloods would have put them down fast, Salvino says, referring to the mostly black Eastside CMG Bloods. The Eastside CMG Bloods were a fraction of the Crenshaw Mafia Bloods from Los Angeles that lived in Denver's East Park Hill neighborhood. It was the younger or weaker fools who could do nothing when Bang and his other cohorts robbed them and raped their girlfriends. And they knew if that they talked, they were liable to get shot. Bang and his boys, Salvino notes, are generally small in stature. They can't fight for shit. They're bitches when it comes to fighting, he says, but they'll use a gun, and that scares some fools. Salvino's refusal to recognize Bang or Speed as a reputed shooter for the Westside CMG, as the leaders claim they earned their stripes, he says, quote, I told them that shit with women was going to catch up with them one of these days, he says, but they got big heads. They think they were in charge. The bad blood led to Bang and his boys taking shots at Salvino, who says he returned the fire and hints that he may have initiated some of his own. Quote, some of their cars got shot up and somebody blew up Ornella's mom's house. It might have been me and maybe it wasn't, he says, but what it got down to was this: who is going to kill who first? At one point, Salvino says he caught Bang and pistol whipped him to the ground. Quote, I could have killed him then, but I let him slide, he says. But after I beat his ass, the animosity really kicked in. Salvino was ready for the gunplay, but then Bang and his troops, quote, did the absolute worst thing they could do, quote, he says. They put word out on the streets that he was talking to the police and that he was a snitch. The rumor alone was enough to get a man killed. Friends wouldn't talk to him anymore, Salvino says, and some refused to do business with him until he could explain what was happening. Then came word that Bang had ordered a hit on Salvino. But even with the snitch rumor out and the hit on Salvino, Salvino refused to hide. He drove around town in his easily recognizable car and visited the same friends. Quote, think about it, he says. I got a light record. There was nothing for me to snitch about so that I could save my ass from a long time in the pen. Quote, I'd rather do a year or two than spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder because I talked to 5-0 about the Bloods. I never talked to the 5-0 about nothing. On the night of July 18th, 1996, and into the early morning, Salvino Martinez and one of his homies, Richard J.C. Love Biggs, spent some time partying with girls who rented an apartment complex off of Sheridan Boulevard. One of Sal's brothers knew one of the girls, Venus Montoya. She was real nice, Salvino recalls. We just sat around doing shots. There were some other guys there, but she said, don't be tripping on each other, just chill, and that's what we did. A little before 4 a.m., Salvino and Biggs left to pick up Salvino's girlfriend. A few minutes later, two figures in black ski masks crept up to the screen door of the apartment and began shooting. Venus, who just that week had asked her grandmother to take her son home for his own safety, was killed by several shots to the head. Salvino Martinez heard about the killing the next day. It was all over the streets. Word was that the Ornelas brothers and Quintana had gone looking for him and that Alejandro and Quintana had shot Venus. Sal didn't tell the police what he knew, which he says shows that he is no snitch. Quote, or they could have just arrested him that day, he adds. It just blew my mind. I mean, I was just there. I wouldn't want that to happen to my mom or my sister or my daughter. I felt bad that she got killed because they were trying to get me, but that's the way it is on the streets. Lakewood Police Detective Scott Richardson even called him, Salvino says, to tell him that Bango and Speed were saying that Sal had stolen the murder weapon from them, used it, and then put it back in their car where police found it. But Salvino says he refused to talk. He would take care of Bang and Speed in his own way. That's if he could get to them first. Word on the streets was that Bang's group had jacked some big-time Mexican gangsters for a few kilos of marijuana. But it was their attitude towards women that caught up with them first. On the night of May 30th, 15-year-old Brandy Duval was seen leaving the house of a friend. Her body was found the next day, laying next to Clear Creek on a highway west of Golden. Salvino had heard what had happened to Brandy on the streets, just as he had learned what had happened to Venus Montoya. She had been raped repeatedly and had pled for her life. Fearing that she would tell the police what had happened, though, the gang members took her to the mountains where they took turns stabbing her, according to court records. Quote, the poor little girl, that just don't make no sense, says Salvino. I wouldn't call it anger, it's just the way they are. A police informant called the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office and said that Brandy had been taken by members of the Westside CMG Bloods to a home in Adams County. The cops arrested several gang members there, charged them with the kidnapping, rape, and murder of Brandy Duval. The members that were charged were Bang Martinez, Zigzag Quintana, Baby G Warren, Maurice Warren, Francisco Martinez, Frank Vigil, and Jacob Casetos. Soon afterwards, Detective Richardson arrested the Ornelas brothers. Along with Quintana, who was already in jail, they were charged with the first-degree murder of Venus Montoya. In court documents to support the Montoya murder charges, the trio's motive was described as wanting to kill Salvino Martinez for being a snitch. Venus was just in the wrong place. Quote, the funny thing is, they're all rolling over on each other, Salvino laughs. Quote, they said I was a snitch, but they can hardly wait to snitch on each other now. For the moment, the rest have taken care of Salvino's enemies, although the rumor that Sal was a snitch still lives on, and as long as it does, he's in danger. Even so, Salvino is a Blood, and he says he will always be a Blood. In the meantime, though, there's that upward mobility thing that he was talking about previously. He says that he hasn't been banging for more than a year. He's currently trying to make it as a musician. His group, Gloc-9, quote, Gangsters Lost on Cloud 9, will release its first gangster rap record on the Threat Records label later this summer. Quote, there's a lot of money in music, Salvino says. You can retire in 5-10 years and the money's legit. I want that. I want a nice house, kids, nice car, someplace safe to live. He's only had one arrest since 1995. After an argument with his girlfriend in which he broke a coffee table, he regrets not finishing high school and is contemplating getting his GED. He stopped his own kids from joining the gang. He says, quote, there was no one, not a homeboy or family there to stop me back when I was younger. But some habits, unlike people, are hard to kill. For example, he has never called Venus Montoya's family to say that he was sorry that she died because of the feud between him and Bang. I couldn't explain it to them, he says, quote, there'd be a lot of anger towards me. I'm sorry, but I can't bring her back by saying I'm sorry. Quote, that's just how it is. That's how it goes. That's life on the streets. In September, Zigzag Quintana, the son of a Denver County Sheriff's deputy, pled guilty to both murders, both of Brandy Duval and Venus Montoya, and agreed to testify against all the other gang members in exchange for a life sentence. Quote, Zigzag's in protective custody, Salvino Martinez says, and I hear that the others are talking, so who's the real snitch now? Now, Salvino Martinez has a gangster rap group called Gloc-9, and Martinez says that they just released their first rap album. Police believe the rap title, Killin Tonight, contains references to the murder of Venus Montoya.
Yeah, in the studio, my motherfucking dog. Real shit, boy. Rough and tough, these suckers get stuck. Fucking with the wrong niggas, they ain't had enough. Wanna hit me up? Boy, your life's in danger. Westside drug dealer, Midwest gangbanger. And I'm representing till I die. Y'all gotta kill me. Catch me slipping when I look in the straight, feel me. If not, I'ma blast suckers with my team. That AR-15 with the infrared beam. Know what I mean? You'll get smoked like I'm taking a toke of the bomb ass shit that keep my throat on choke. When it's a war, run for cover, duck and hide. Keep your ass inside, cause we killin' tonight. The block, my gangsta, dump on sight. Keep your ass inside, cause we killin' tonight.
Also sprinkled throughout the album is a song called Westword Hoes, where Salvino tends to mock his ex-gang member friends. The song goes, Bang and his crew say that I'm dropping dimes. Where's your paperwork? I'm just dropping rhymes. They tried to do me dirty, but what you thinking? Jealous of the birdies and the Lincoln. Tried to wipe me off the map, but that's a no-no. And while you're in the pen, I'm in my Lolo. Bang, you a fool. You need to get a grip. Cause last time I caught your ass, you got pistol whipped. And that's on the foe. I chin-checked your little sister, bitch. Boom. At the Super Show. Speed, what's your name? Comedian? And G-Loc, you're no G, so take the G out. You know what I'm saying? Real homes would be happy for you. Busters, so why you trying to flex? Fuck what you heard and what you got put on in Westwood. And Zigzag, get off of Bang's nuts. Why don't you be your own motherfucking man? This is the big boy, Vino, 4 minutes, 4 motherfucking minutes. And oh yeah, don't start whining when your punk ass ends up in Lyman. Salvino said that he's no longer gangbanging. And now that little matter of who's snitching on whom has been resolved to his satisfaction, he says he just wants to make music. Quote, trail of bloods or trail of bitches, Salvino says, breaking out into a rap. Who's the real G's and who's the real snitches? I appreciate y'all tuning in, checking out the video. If y'all like the content, man, hit me with a like so I can get this thing out there and grow this channel. I greatly do appreciate you. If you ain't subbed up, go ahead and get that in there too. Be back around with another round before you know it. Till the next one, y'all, I'm gone.